My face. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are back here for another Chair League Season 3 game. With me, as always, my co-caster, Mr. New Type.
Mr. New Type, wow. He's being polite tonight. How's everyone doing out there? We just got done casting a really fun Division 3 game, and I think we got another one in the barrel here coming up. We've got Territorial Pissing versus Murky Murk and the Funky Bunch. It's my favorite 70s disco band. So let's talk about this game here tonight. Synth, have we got a decision yet on the map?
Yes, sir. Still going with the politeness here. We got Towers of Doom. Doom. Very appropriate for the Halloween season.
Very doomy.
And I believe it was released during a Halloween season was it last year?
Pretty darn close. It was like maybe October, November of last year.
I think it came with our pumpkin portraits that we currently have equipped.
Oh, do we? Oh, we do. I'll be darned.
Yep. So if it's a year later, what do you think of this map? Talk about the map a little bit.
1 year later, how do we think of this map? I think this map has eventually sort of settled down. There was a time when this map played a lot like Blackheart's Bay, where if you got out ahead early, you just started beating the crap out of the opposing team, and that was it. You were done.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like Braxis Holdout.
Well, I think
was Braxis more snowbally than Towers?
Braxis is... You can't compare Braxis to this map. You got to compare Braxis to Haunted Mines.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
But, this one... it took a while, I think, for people to understand how to approach the camps, how to approach the team fights over the course of the game. Blizzard, tweaking and changing the spawn rates of the towers, I think, was very important. Guaranteeing certain setups at certain times, I think is useful. It's nice to have some layer of predictability in the game. I like it. I think it's a map that it's unique in that you've got a channeled objective, or at least it was unique when it came out. You got a channeled objective that is going to be in various locations in the map, and it's going to be a straight 5-on-5 team fight more often than not at those objectives. It's not like certain maps where you might see people split up. You'll see some splits usually on Sky Temple, or you'll see teams split up a little more on I guess Cursed Hollow is a lot very much like this map, but you can't really afford to give away too many tributes the way that you can give away too many of these shots.
This I mean, this is still unique in the way that the core cannot be directly damaged by heroes, and
You're correct.
And I think that's a valuable mode to play as or to play with.
It changes how you prioritize your draft. I mean, pushing heroes have a different role. You see a hero like Sylvanas, which is typically, first pick, first ban material on certain maps. You see her not prioritized as much on this one. Heroes with a long-range poke like Asmodan or Chromie are actually very valuable on a map like this, where you can interrupt a channel from long range. Tyrande, who sometimes isn't your mainline healer, can actually kind of make do as your line healer on this map. She can heal through the team fights at a fairly early level, and still be able to provide assistance with kills and pickups and interrupting that channel. Global heroes obviously are some of the big champs on this map. Any hero that can get to a location quickly is very valuable here.
I miss the days when I could Abathur in to steal steal objective. Oh my gosh, those were. I had one game that hit Reddit, if you remember. That
I remember that one.
Oh, that like I think I cloned somebody. It was a 0-1 game. It was one of those games, and
it was a last second double channel, if I'm not mistaken.
Did we lose that one? I think we lost that one.
I think you did. I think I actually did not play that game, if I remember correctly. I was watching it. What can I say? This is what happens when you queue without me. But it looks like the draft links have been passed out, and the captains are starting to ready up here.
Hold on. So Zarya or Murky equals Zarya.
Yeah, let's make sure we get our understandings in place, get our stipulations. But let's talk about this map. Let's talk about this potential draft that we've got in front of us here. Both teams, Div 3 teams, and have been doing fairly well. Murky Murk and the Funky Bunch, this is their first game here in Division 3. They've just made it out of their placement games. And Territorial Pissing is 2-2 at the moment. So both teams technically with sort of a level even record, but we'll have to see how they perform here. Murky Murk did play in Season 2, actually, and had a couple of games, 5 wins, 7 losses there. And similar history for Territorial Pissing, 4 wins, 7 losses in Season 2. So Murky Murk might have just been sort of slow to pick up here in Season 3, or they might have gone through placements again. I don't know. I'll have to check. But regardless, they're here tonight. They're ready to lay down the funk.
Yep,
and we're ready to get started.
And we got 2 global heroes banned out, right?
Instantly. Holy cow. Falstad and Zagara, goodbye.
Yep, great call out of that. I think you're still absolutely correct. And Zarya first pick. I assume
you gotta get Malfurion here. Like, if the OP heroes make it through the first ban phase, you gotta pick them. You cannot argue against Malfurion being overpowered right now. The numbers are so stacked in his favor. You can't say something like, "Oh, it's a learn to play issue," or "Oh, it's people just aren't picking the right heroes against him." No, he's really overpowered. He's just winning the games that he's in. Period. I feel like you got to get him right now if you're Murky Murk, or you're missing a huge benefit to your team.
Although on this map, I don't know. I mean, yes, I think Malfurion does work very well.
They go with the Kerrigan instead. I mean, this will help them in the early game, but I feel like they missed out on an opportunity here.
I feel like they revealed too much. You don't. Kerrigan tells too much. Yeah.
So what do you counter here with? Do you go with heavy lockdown here?
I mean, you can go Muradin. I
think Muradin Thrall here would absolutely cripple them. You've got 3 very heavy frontline heroes. The Kerrigan's gonna have a serious issue to get through, and all 3 of them have.
Or Zul.
Zul would work out fairly well too. You're correct.
With this, because I mean, So Zarya's already a tank. So two tank is good. Oh, and they're gonna go with the overpowered heroes here.
Territorial Pissing stacking the deck in their favor with the ludicrous overpowered heroes. Let's call them for what they are.
Yeah. I mean, they are getting nerfs tomorrow, so at least Blizzard thinks that they're a little bit overpowered, so we're not coming out of nowhere calling them that. But either way, what do you think here? I mean, this reveals nothing about what Territorial Pissing wants to do. Like, picking the meta heroes tells you nothing about your strategy.
I feel like you need another heavy HP hero to cut down on the list of available targets for Kerrigan, and they decide to go with literally exactly the opposite of what I said, and they get Jaina. Now, Jaina is a long-range hero, so she ostensibly should not be on the front lines taking grenades from Kerrigan, but like, you have to understand that any hero that gets caught in that pull is going to get chunked considerably, and you need to have an HP bank to deal with the Kerrigan and the follow-up Li Ming combo. Yeah. Like, those are both very dangerous combos.
So, here's another question for you. Here's a little bit of a mind game question for you. Do you think that they went without Malfurion to counter Malfurion specifically? Because I see in Kerrigan a direct counter to Malfurion.
I don't know. The roots can be very dangerous if your combo doesn't go off appropriately, or if you dive in as Kerrigan. The roots or a Twilight Dream can completely neuter you as a hero.
Okay.
I think there's counterplays available for Malfurion to deal with Kerrigan.
And Muradin picked.
Picked up by Murky Murk. I mean, so they've got the dive in, they've got the stuns available to them. I feel like Territorial Pissing, their hero pool right now is very light on hit points and damage mitigation. Even Zarya, her shield can get cut through very quickly if you focus the damage in on her. Yeah. And then who cares what her damage is if she's dead?
Yeah. Okay, so Muradin picked because Johanna and ETC are banned out, I think. I mean, frankly,
they're choked. Territorial Pissing is choked out.
No, I mean Zarya.
I think Zarya is a very dangerous solo tank. You're very reliant on her cooldowns. She does not have a substantial HP pool. She doesn't have an escape. She does not have a hard engagement tool, like a stun. Her ultimate is her ultimate. I'm not going to downplay that. It's very good. But she has very little that can actually manage the landscape of a battlefield.
Yeah, she doesn't have enough control on the battlefield. And I think that's very true very important for a solo tank. Is you need to have control. You need to beat Johanna with a pull, ETC with his power slide, Muradin with his Stormhammer.
The Ariel picked up by Murky Murk. I like this. You give that crown probably to Li Ming, and you have heals forever.
Yeah,
you'll just have heals forever.
The reason why I was theorizing that Murky Murk was letting them have Malfurion is Kerrigan, Li Ming, and they are chunkers. They chunk people for a large portion of their health. And Malfurion, as much as they buffed his burst heal, and they're nerfing it a little bit, his burst heal is still not that good.
They need more HP.
Yeah.
I think Territorial Pissing needs more HP. They need some bruisers.
Or dual support.
They go with Chen. There we go. Now we're talking.
All right, so Chen's Zarya. Chen's also another meta hero.
Yeah, Chen's also got the oomph. Territorial Pissing. Marking it with the big time, the big boy heroes right now. If you go to Hotslogs, you'll see them near the top. Who's your last pick? I mean, I feel like you're
dual support.
I feel like maybe.
No, I think you might have to go with a Thrall there.
I was feeling Thrall too, or some other sort of HP heavy damage dealer.
No, false stats banned. Lunara?
Not enough HP. I don't like it.
Sonya?
Possible. Tychus is okay too. Tychus is okay. Yeah. Tychus has a fair amount of HP for a long-range hero. Actually, a pretty
have no front-
reasonable amount.
They have only tanks on the front line. That's okay. I'm okay with that.
I mean, Chen has a fair amount of slows. He's got his own form of damage mitigation, which is very nice. Zarya as well has her own form of damage mitigation that she can spread to other targets.
But Chen's weak against Kerrigan. His main source of shields requires him to stand still and drink. And Kerrigan's pull actually, I believe, mitigates that.
It will stun him. The stun, I think, will bring him down. I don't know if the pull will.
Okay.
And Zul is picked up by Murky Murk and the Funky Bunch.
Okay.
So if they isolate an individual, that individual will die. It is that simple. Territorial pissing, a little unusual given the dive-heavy composition that is picked up by Murky Murk.
This feels like a comfort pick out of Murky Murk's composition here. A few of these look like comfort picks due to the.
I was gonna say a few of these look like if you're playing Hero League by yourself, pick these heroes because they're all really good. Territorial pissing, I mean, they have Tychus who's going to help out immeasurably against Muradin, and Zul has a fair amount of hit points as well for him to chew through. I'm just curious, do they feel like they've got enough damage to really bring down Kerrigan when she goes in? Because that's going to be the most dangerous person in their face from Murky Murk. They're not going to have very many opportunities to get in the back line and deal with Li Ming. Chen can jump back there, but he can't do much else. So it's going to have to be the focus on the focus is going to have to be on the Kerrigan.
I like their Zul pick to support that though. The Zul has a lot of things that rely on him to either. I mean, if he takes Poison Nova, he'll be right there in there with sorry, I was reading the chat with Kerrigan and did you find a fly?
Yes, I did. I got him.
All right.
But we'll get to the team introductions when we get into the map here. Do you feel like anyone particularly won or lost this draft?
I'm confused by the draft a little bit.
Territorial Pissing went with some interesting picks. They went with some on-meta heroes and some off-meta heroes.
Would you call Jaina the off-meta hero?
I would, actually, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, with all the other people banned out, I think she was the most on-meta of the people remaining, I think. Other than Lunara. I think Lunara would have been a good choice in this particular...
I don't feel so. I think Kerrigan eats her for breakfast. If Kerrigan pulls Lunara and Zul gets a root, Lunara dies horribly.
But Lunara tends to stay on the outskirts of these battles anyway, and if they dive her, Kerrigan should have been the one overcommitting in order to dive. And I don't know. It's a thought.
Perhaps. Yeah, we'll have to see. All right. So on the left-hand side here, in the blue trunks, we've got Team Territorial Pissing. We got Providence on Malfurion. We got Dr. Dog on Zarya. We got Lock Dog on Jaina. We got Great Guru on Chen, and we got Siafu on Tychus. On the right-hand side, in the red trunks, playing for Team Murky Murk and the Funky Bunch, we've got Caddy Wampus on Li Ming. We got Sock Puppets on Ariel. We got Oak Lord on Zul, Crumbs on the Kerrigan, and Skuse on Muradin.
I was wondering how you would pronounce that. So a lot of these
immediately laid into Siafu, taking heaps of damage, and that is it. Initial kill goes in, but the kills are traded. Kerrigan going down in response as esports happens in the mid lane.
Yeah, a lot of damage going down immediately to that Tychus, and that was a great combination coming out of just immediate focus.
Yeah, Kerrigan got the combo off, and then Zul was there for the follow-up route. You can't be that far forward against a Kerrigan composition. They will eat you for breakfast.
And interesting the site taken from Malfurion. The
scouting drone.
That is a very common ability taken in. Ooh, Kerrigan taken down.
Or no, it was
sorry,
Muradin.
Muradin. Sorry, the observer bug is still there. It's fixed on Wednesday.
No.
Yeah, scouting drone is one of those abilities that has a lot of utility on a on the pro scene, but in lower leagues, in amateur leagues and stuff like that, you don't really see it that often.
Yeah, most folks go for the invigorate or the innervate, excuse me, cooldown reduction. But now scouting drone picked up, and I like this flexibility from Malfurion.
Well, Malfurion doesn't really have a lot of people to innervate. I mean, Zarya doesn't use mana.
Jaina benefits from it substantially. Tychus caught again by the same combo, the Kerrigan Zul combo in the top lane. Takes a big heap of damage, but does manage to skedaddle out of there.
Yeah, Providence is definitely going to have to take cleanse at 7. I mean, there's no...
Oh, there's no way. There's no buts about it.
Yeah, and Cattywampus is the only one down in bottom. They're going to... Murky Murk is going to get a free turn-in at the bottom there.
And they're soaking the XP, so Murky Murk is going to get a lot potentially from this bottom lane.
Yeah, but Skoos is getting really low and goes down actually as a result.
Yeah, noticing this Territorial Pissing push the advantage in the top lane here. And they're going to get a heap of kills. Crumb's dangerously low. The Zul and the Kerrigan drop. And that freebie at bottom is actually turning into a detriment as Territorial Pissing, recognizing the advantage that they had, push top lane and secure themselves 2 towers and a full level of XP.
And the the Raven Lord announces that his superiority here, and we're gonna see level 4s picked up on both teams. Anything interesting?
We got Vengeful Roots from Malfurion, going for what a lot of people would consider an unusual or atypical build.
That's a DPS build.
Charged Blast from Li Ming instead of Dominance or the W build. We're looking at a Q and auto attack based build from Li Ming. I very rarely see Charged Blast. I'll be completely honest with you.
The quest talent picked up for Ariel, by the way.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, we got 2 melees, so there's going to be consistent opportunities to get hits on those 2. But yeah, interesting talent picks all over the place here from both teams.
And once the overlay up, there we go. Fury the Storm.
Yeah, some of these talent picks. We are on another planet here, and I love it. Basic attacks with splash damage.
Reverb taken from Muradin.
Full reverberation from Muradin. I mean, that is going to help slow down Zarya's auto attacks, which happens so frequently. It's ridiculous.
But the frontliners taking a lot of damage. I mean, sorry, Kerrigan taking a lot of damage going into these engagements. And Skoos is not really able to tank enough of the damage to make it a safe commit.
Yeah, Crumb's kind of isolated here, takes a lot of damage and is brought down by Lockdog. And the members of Murky are really hurt right now. They have got to back out. They've got to tap. Some of them are going to have to hearth home. But, Territorial Pissing with lots of hit points, a fair amount of mana available to them. And we're seeing that Death's Reach get value, that level 4 talent from Zul, able to poke and interrupt in the mid lane, but to no avail. They cannot finish off the members in mid here. So both shots, all 8 going to Territorial Pissing, and it is a 36-24 lead in their favor right now.
And Chen was actually over the wall there for a little bit and drank up.
Oops.
Yeah. But escapes to no real detriment there. Very aggressive comps coming out of both teams. There is no cleanse available for Ariel, by the way. So, wow, another quest talent picked up for Ariel.
And another, Jaina is brought down. Another nice pick from Crumbs there. And the damage is going in on Siafu, taking a lot of hurt. But Malfurion is there to help top him off.
Yeah, Sock Puppets took repeated offense. That's...
Where are you?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. That's very offensive. I mean, sorry, that's a very offensively focused talent. They're looking to really try to dominate the team fights, and they're not really worried about the sustain. So this is going to be... I think the team fights are going to be very quick. It's going to go one way or the other very quickly without a lot of like back and forth. And that's probably better for the.
I wonder how many other Detainment Strike talents we'll see from Sock Puppets here. This may be a comfort build of theirs.
Zarya is going to have to start moving back here, otherwise she's going to get caught out. But she does move back in time.
Yeah, in time. Level 10s have been attained by Territorial Pissing. They have a huge advantage for this Alter phase, and I feel like you cannot deal with this if you're Murky Murk right now. We're seeing Twilight Dream. Twilight Dream got picked up. Graviton Surge, Ring of Frost, Wandering Keg being used right now, and Draken Laser Drill. Crumb's so hurt is going to go down here. Chen diving in super aggressively, and they know they've got the edge. They got the kill. They can afford to work this fort down in the bot lane and then go to the Altar in the middle there.
That's a very greedy play, but then again, they do have. Well, actually, no. Both teams have ults now, so
both teams have ults now. Kerrigan is still down. That's one thing they've got going for them. Caddy Wampus actually completes the channel. That's a big misplay from the members of Territorial Pissing.
And Aegis has to be used very early there, and
Twilight Dream finishes off, but Providence is brought down, and it's a big trade. Members of Murky Murk really hurt right now. Caddy Wampus is gonna go. No, Caddy Wampus survives with 75 hit points. I don't believe it.
Very, very scary there for members of Murky Murk. They have to be careful here. It's a 4-on-2, and Li Ming is at like a quarter health.
And like any more kills that they surrender, it's going to put Territorial Pissing that much closer to level 13. And we're getting very close to that fifth. We're getting very close to that fifth tower phase where there's going to be 3 towers up and available. Great Guru taking the heat is brought down by the members of Murky Murk, taking a little too much there, I feel. And with the last Zarya shot, potentially. It's got 100 hit points. That fort refuses to go down.
Yeah, 122 hit points. So, yeah, that was a very risky maneuver coming out of Zarya, but she was at full shields that entire time. Sorry, full energy that entire time. She's doing a number with her beam. I mean, she is really showing why the...
She is almost top damage on the team.
Yeah.
She is top damage on the team right now.
She's showing why they have to nerf her the fall off on her energy.
I mean, the big issue, there's several issues. Maximum charge is a big problem right now. The way it works and the way it can provide you with a 25 extra percent that you can go up in, that helps inflate your damage grossly. And Wandering Keg going in, Chen wants a piece of skews, but the third win is going to kick in here, and I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah, he can't solo 4 members of the other team there.
Yeah, but Kerrigan is silenced, taking a lot of damage from that Twilight Dream, and does go down. They get the mid fort while Jaina caps in bot. This is perfect opportunity for Territorial Pissing. This game is going completely in their favor right now, and Murky Murk needs a miracle last minute full team wipe, I feel, to get back into this game.
Yeah, they need to take back control of the map. Right now map control is thoroughly in the hands of Territorial Pissing. They're just controlling every rotation, every they're forcing 3 of the members of Murky Murk into the mid lane to take back that one fort, while they have free reign to take the top and put some damage onto the top fort. And
if they hustle, this damage could go directly to the fort. And 2 of the sappers will go to the fort.
Yep, and wow, Zarya just eating up those shots for some free energy there, and yeah,
she's not careful. That greed might have been a bit much.
Well, it's a 4-on-3.
Does not completely connect, and the members of Murky Murk are showing up. Crumb's getting isolated completely by that Wandering Keg. Crystal Aegis is popped, and a nice Jaina ult, missing everyone, unfortunately. That was a great flank from Lockdog, but no connects there. The 2 kills are secured for Territorial Pissing, though, so it is a retreat for Murky Murk.
Yep. So the Draken Laser Drill really doing a number on the zoning phase there, really zoning out the other team and providing that extra bit of damage that really punishes them for staying in. And Great Guru is doing a great job on the front lines. I mean, he is just constantly harassing the front line, the front line, and isolating the melee, isolating Kerrigan, Zool if he's in the way, Murden. I mean, he's just being this lane bully, and it is working out for them for sure. But ults-wise, it looks like they're not going to have a couple of their ults for this particular altar phase.
And that may be the edge that Murky Murk needs, but it's 16-14 right now. They've got to be careful, as Territorial Pissing is, I mean, they're playing the back and forth game now. They're, you know, every tower. Oh, an interesting, the rotation from Crumbs and Skews is really a little bit aggressive. They go directly into the 5 members of Territorial Pissing. You can't afford to rotate through the map in this situation. You've got to go back, take the longer route through your base, and then back through if you're going down towards that tower. Yeah. That was a pathing, that was a decision made that you know, through the pathing there that was just incorrect. It was so risky, it was so dangerous, and they paid for it with their lives.
Oh, and speaking of incorrect and dangerous, and Oak Lord is really getting punished for face checking that smoke there.
And he does make it out with Sock Puppet's heals, but I mean, this just gives Territorial Pissing the confidence to take this Merc camp and push through bottom. Right now, Murky Murk needs a miracle to get back into this game. This is so firmly in Territorial Pissing's hands that you know, we would need successive 5-man wipes to basically bring them back into this game.
Yeah, but never say never, because I believe it was in what was it, fall finals that there was a team that went.
You're not wrong.
That went.
I know what you're saying.
To 1 point and took it almost all the way back. I believe it was Naventic versus. My memory's failing me right now, but.
In your old age.
Yeah. But in the meantime, a lot of damage goes down.
This is not what Murky Murk needs. Murky Murk losing 3 members, as we have. Do we have pumpkins after pushing? No, they were used up there. But like they're going back and forth. They're getting all the forts they need. Expect them to grab the bottom pumpkin sappers here, and then probably either escort them in or move to the mid lane. But
Chen going directly into the mid lane, and that's a good choice on him. He's going to do some additional damage. They don't need all 5 on the to escort. In fact, they don't even need 1 person. They're just going to go take.
I mean, it's a win-win regardless. You either get the mid fort or you escort the damage in, and you might even get both. Ariel
or Kerrigan.
No, Kerrigan. Oh, that bug is going to drive me nuts. Kerrigan get picked in the middle, and it's the best of both worlds for Territorial Pissing. They are able to, you know, get the mid fort, and Murky Murk still has to react to this pumpkin sappers in bot, and you know, this is a match. This is match point on this phase. If they get both of these, altars, the game is over.
I think this is match point anyway, because this is match point whether or not they get that bottom fort back. So they actually decided to rotate up and try to.
Li Ming, the first one into the fray, deleted instantly, and that is not the way you want to open this engagement. You do not want to be leading the charge if you are Li Ming, or that is going to happen to you every time. And with that, Territorial Pissing moves over to their tower, and they are just going to clean this up. That is going to be it. As the members of Territorial Pissing force them, Murky Murk, back further. The last shots ring out, and that is GG. Territorial Pissing putting on a clinic as they really, really work the board here in Towers of Doom.
Yep. Wow. That was solidly in the favor of Territorial Pissing.
I'm not going to say that OP heroes are OP, but they're OP for a reason, buddy.
Blizzard is nerfing them
for a reason.
Yes, they are not just blindly going, you know what, I don't feel like.
Nah, man, it's a learn to play issue. You just got to learn to play. Just gotta learn to play against these heroes that have 60% win rates in all play levels.
You just gotta learn to play against Kael'thas for a year.
Man. You just gotta learn to play against Ignite. So what if getting hit by Flame Strike kills your whole team? You just gotta learn to play against it.
Or Fire King or Sun King's Fury.
Sun King's Fury. I don't even. Oh my god. Anyways,
Sorry.
so let's take a look at this. Tychus ended up actually topping the charts on damage, with Zarya and Jaina very close in contention behind them.
Yeah, let's point that out for a second. Again, Zarya as a tank did as much damage as Jaina, an assassin,
with AoE long range damage. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, so there's a reason why Zarya is on the not chopping block, but is under the nerf bat right now, waiting for a swing. And Malfurion, even with Twilight Dream, able to heal through pretty much everything. I mean, there's only 4 kills.
It's because his healing is so good right now that he can afford to take Twilight Dream.
Yeah.
Like, his healing is so good right now that he can afford to take Twilight Dream, afford to get into the mix, pop off that spell, get the damage, and get the silence in that he needs.
Let's put it this way.
Still be able to heal his team.
He out-healed Ariel without a healing ult. Like, that's... Yeah, that's...
Well, Ariel, it's kind of feast or famine. If your team is doing the damage, you should be in a good shape with Ariel. If your team isn't doing the damage, then you've got problems.
But Li Ming did a sizable amount of damage, and she was the target of Ariel's crown most of the time. So, it's not to say like that. It's fairly reliable damage that was coming in. So fairly reliable heals. And the fact that Kerrigan can sustain herself and Zul. Hold on, let's see here.
He did take Rathma's Blessing at 7.
Yeah,
but like in those big team fights at the towers, it's not going to help you at all.
That's true. And he did not take the one where bone prisoning somebody raises 2 skeletons, right?
Jailers at 4. Yeah, no, he went with Death's Reach, which I think is pretty reasonable on this level. It gives you an added range to help interrupt the channels for the tributes or the towers. I think that makes sense at 4, since you're not going to be laning too much, and the jailers are helpful, but they're really there to put pressure on your lane opponent. But I mean, Territorial Pissing, just bring in the OP hate.
Let's talk about Chen for a second.
All right,
Chen was perhaps the most pivotal character in these team fights. Would you not agree?
I would say he contributed a lot to this win. Chen being in the backline and eating up a lot of cooldowns made life so much easier for the front line of Territorial Pissing.
And not only that, he was able to isolate with Wandering Keg. He was able to isolate a hero or 2, or just interrupt. Li Ming could not get a disintegrate down because she was just knocked out, of her disintegrate.
I love this decision at 13 for Withering Flames.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, and yeah, that even reduces Li Ming's damage.
Li Ming, Kerrigan, Zul. I mean, where's the damage for Murky Murk if they have no ability damage? I think that's great for Territorial Pissing there.
Yeah, and frankly, the Disintegrate was probably not a good choice against this opposing team. I mean, you have Crystal Aegis, which will nullify your Disintegrate target typically. Sorry, Crystal Aegis is on their
it was on their team, yeah.
I mean, Twilight Dream will silence it. Draken, if you're standing and you're disintegrating and the Draken's next to you, you're in a bad spot.
That's true.
Wandering Keg is just going to move you and cancel your ult. I mean, it's just... I disagree with Disintegrate being the choice at 10 for Li Ming. It's a safe choice, but it's not the right one. In this.
I think Charged Blast at 4, given the rest of the picks that I saw from Li Ming, I think Charged Blast at 4 is a glaring mistake. I think you have to take Triumvirate at 4 if you're going for Zay's Vengeance at 7. Or if you take Charged Blast at 4, you have to take a Q talent at 7. Like, there's no reason to take either of these talents separately. You're not getting more magic missiles, so you're not getting any benefits out of the 4 talent. You're not getting the cooldown reduction on your W, which benefits, which helps greatly with Zay's Vengeance at 7.
And really, basic attacking a target recently hit. You're spreading your damage out, and the thing about Malfurion is you need to isolate you need to max out the amount of burst damage you can do. And the way that Charge Blast works is that you're actually spreading it out more.
I think taking Triumvirate 4 for Li Ming would have helped substantially. You get faster cooldowns on your W. You get longer range on your W, which keeps you out of the Tychus damage, the Jaina damage, and that Chen leap. And if you hit a hero with it, and it helps with interrupting at the objective. Like you have a longer range interrupt. I think this might have been a misclick. I'm gonna chalk it up to a misclick because I don't see any reason to pick the talent at level 4. It doesn't help. You're playing against a Chen who took Elusive Brawler at level 1. You're playing against Zarya, who has like a bazillion hit points and shields if things get ugly. Like an extra 87 damage isn't going to help you bring those heroes down at level 4. Having a longer range interrupt is, and I feel like I said, I'm gonna chalk this up to a misclick. I feel like it's not synergizing well with the rest of the build.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out that Jaina did take Arcane Intellect at 4, meaning Malfurion's his trait ability was really only useful to Tychus. So absolutely good choice for scouting drone at the first level 1 talent in that case. But
you make a really good point there.
Yeah. So honestly, very aggressive builds coming out of both healers. I'm quite surprised, especially with Ario. Ario probably could have done with a little bit more healing in order to sustain.
I mean, she took about as many healing talents as she could. Empathic Link, excuse me. Well, at 7 is pretty standard for a good healing build. I think of what else she could take to make things better here.
I don't know. I think that Detaining Strike, the repeated offense at level 4
here's the thing. What else do you take?
You take the faster sweep, I think. Because sweep takes so long to cast that that you're not healing.
Especially paired with increasing clarity.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I can understand that.
Yeah, I think you while you're sweeping, you can't heal. Like while that sweep animation is casting, you can't heal. So you're actually increasing your ability to heal during the key moments whenever you take that faster sweep. That's assuming that you're sweeping, which most often you are. Like if your sweep isn't on cooldown all the time, you feel at least as a Ario player, you feel like you're not doing something right. Like you feel like you want to hit Q on cooldown. So, but yeah. Anyway, I think a good game coming out of both teams. A little bit of a comp issue, and maybe Li Ming's build was a little bit.
And this is the old school Muradin coming from Skuse. Block, Reverberation, Piercing Bolt, Avatar, Thunderstrike, and Heavy Impact. This is like 1.0 Muradin. What you see a lot of folks in current gameplay.
Give him the axe.
You see, give him the axe. Heavy Impact's still used. Because the unstoppable frames have been removed from his jump, Muradin, you see a lot of top tier Muradin players engage with their dwarf toss now.
And that's probably good because honestly,
you engage with the dwarf toss, you get Heavy Impact at 16, so you have an engagement stun, you have a follow up stun, and you take the 2 times Thunderclap. Why can I not remember it off the top of my head right now?
Yeah, at 4.
At 4. And you take Healing Static at 13. That's the critical one. You take Healing Static at 13 because you get it off the initial strike of W, and you get it off the second strike of W too. And that helps take a lot of pressure off your healers, and it helps keep you alive. Muradin dying 5 times, in those team fights, how many of those could have been alleviated by having that healing static, or having that extra healing?
Yeah, and due to the way that the comp worked out, they had two bruisers or two.
And
tanks.
I really disagree. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you, buddy.
It's okay.
I really disagree with block too against Tychus and Zarya, who attack multiple times per second. That block is never going to be up, and it's never going to be paying the dividends that it needs to pay. Third Wind could benefit this Muradin far more. Keeping him in the fights, giving him time to rotate out, heal up, get some emergency HP, and then get back into the game. I think there's some really questionable talents in the builds in Murky Murk, and ironing those out will help them in the upcoming weeks here.
Absolutely. So, a bit to learn. It is Div 3, but a great game coming. Solid builds coming out of Territorial pissing and playing the meta heroes. That's gonna always give you a little bit of a leg up. I'm not gonna chalk that to the only reason why, because it's not. It's definitely not.
They played very nicely. That was very nicely done.
So yeah, great games coming out of both teams, and hope to see both teams again in the near future. And I think that'll do it for us tonight. Any last words there, New Type?
Cheers.
All right. Don't forget to follow us on Twitch, and we'll be back on Thursday.